Welcome back to episode 2 of As the Tech Bubble Bursts. Last week I did a video about the tech bubble burst and people are paying attention. It is a slow burst, but I wanted to give an update in this video of how I'm seeing things change in the industry and some news that I found that could affect tech and the tech job market in general.
Let's get back to work.
Get back to work.
America is back to work.
Hi, my name is April. I'm a tech recruiter. Please subscribe to this channel if you are interested in the tech industry or the jobs involved in the tech industry. And it's been about a week since my tech bubble burst video. Yeah, I'm already starting to see a lot of changes. I see a ton of contract people on the market. It seems like a lot of these corporate companies had a lot more contractors than any of us really knew about. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are fresh off a contract looking for a job. I have to say, people take contract for a reason, and more often than not, it's because it's the best opportunity that they could get. So I'm seeing some people who have great resumes, although they were contracting, and then I'm seeing a ton of candidates that have 1 year at each role, obviously a contract, and I let one of these candidates go through to the final round in one of my interviews. That's the feedback I got from the CTO. This guy has done too many contracts. I'm not sure how he could stay at one company and stay focused on the job long term with the same project. And that's a bummer for that candidate because they had tons of experience, but hiring managers at conservative companies just generally don't like contractors. So how is the hiring market changing? Well, Apple is talking about how it's going to handle inflation by curbing high employee salaries. Even FAANG companies are poised to cut employee salaries, and they set the market tone for high salaries. Along with issues with consumer logistics, Apple isn't seeing that much revenue. They do have a historically affluent customer that tends to pay more money for their products in general, but Apple was also impacted by shutdowns in China during COVID-19, also delaying production, resulting in an $8 billion revenue hit. So even one of the A in FAANGs is struggling. Another one of the FAANGs, Facebook/Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, is making the news because he said he's going to turn up the heat at Facebook. Part of his goal is to increase the workload, to encourage those who can't handle the increased workload to find a new place to work, saying self-selection is okay with me. Meta has also reduced its plan for hiring in engineering from what was 10,000 engineers over the next year to 6,000 or 7,000. If you're one of those people who disagrees with me and thinks that tech salaries are not high enough, that they're still increasing, well, that should make you quiver in your boots because that is not good news. Some more unfortunate news for the US economy. India is making huge leaps in payments. Now, America usually lags with Asia in payment processing, but payments is a huge market. A lot of tech companies out there exist just because they process payments. For example, PayPal. Well, now it's making the news that India is racing ahead in implementing what the crypto crowd had promised, a unified payment system. Merchants all across Asia accept UPI payments through QR code payments that are common in Asia. Both China and India have gone from having a few startups to having dozens of billion-dollar unicorn companies. In 6 short years, transactions running over UPI have skyrocketed, exceeding $100 billion per month. So to translate that for you, a lot of job and work opportunity in the payment industry is going to be going over to Asia, or specifically India. That's not very good news for the opportunity in the US job market for tech industry. And speaking of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin lost 58% of its value in 1 quarter, the second quarter of 2022, making it the highest loss in over a decade, with the last time being the third quarter of 2011. And a lot of people are calling Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies like meme stock upsetting. I appreciate the cryptocurrency, but it is bad news for the industry. Chip makers are refusing to build factories in the US due to government restrictions. Interesting story. You may already know, but most semiconductors are made in Taiwan. Yeah, Taiwan, the country that has an uncomfortable relationship with China and might be the cause of another great conflict. Well, the US passed the CHIPS Act that offered $52 billion in funding for local players to invest in the domestic chip industry. But Congress has yet to properly allocate funding for this. And of course, domestic players want a part of the money. Even Intel froze construction on its latest $20 billion factory in Ohio. Now, we actually need these semiconductors. It would help with some bubbles in other industries. So it's interesting to see how the US government is inhibiting the ability for the industry industry to go simply by its own incompetence. Now, a company that has a real tech shortage is Korea. It is a smaller nation with a huge tech company, Samsung. Samsung is realizing it's struggling to hire new employees in a culture that has a lot more tech companies to go to other than Samsung. They are moving to reduce the workaholic work culture. Now, Samsung has had some unfortunate lawsuits with people who have died on their factories, and in general, they are very strict work culture. It is a Korean company, traditional Korean work culture. And apparently it has inhibited their ability to hire and maintain the best employees. It's true, I see Samsung employees running from Samsung as fast as they can once a fun, exciting project is over. But Samsung is competing with a real tech talent shortage. In the US, Tesla is able to offer moderate salary offerings. Why? Because they have the name Tesla and people want to work there because it looks good on the resume. Well, Samsung looks real good on the resume too, but in a place that has a real tech shortage, not like the US, but a real tech talent gap, even big name companies have to work harder to compete to hire the best employees. So if you don't agree with me and you think that there's a tech talent shortage in the US, go take a look at the Korean market. Maybe ask your peers at Korean companies. It's pretty easy to tell if someone is working for a Korean company on LinkedIn. Let me know what you find and let me know if I'm wrong. Apparently the GPU shortage is over and we have a windfall of GPUs, some that are 2 years old that people don't really want to buy, so it's creating an interesting problem. Two other stories: a couple buys a house in middle America. They find they have to pay $23,000 to get internet. Well, the telecom company a long time ago wired up all the houses in the neighborhood except for theirs. Which brings me to a point that we have telecom monopolies in America. Apparently they are getting in the way of you having better internet. The telecom industry in general faces inadequate standards, inaccurate mapping, state and federal corruption, or ongoing efforts by these tech monopoly companies to lobby the government to gridlock the nation's telecom consumer protection regulator. For example, AT&T received an estimated as a part of the US government's 2017 corporate tax cut. In exchange, the company promised billions in new fiber investments and thousands in high-paying jobs. Instead, AT&T trimmed its network investments in the US that followed and laid off an estimated 50,000 employees since 2017. Wow, a lot of people in the US struggle with not having internet, and they do face these crazy charges of $20, $30, $40, $50,000 to wire the wire to their internet. And no one's gonna pay that. People will just get a hotspot and deal with the problem themselves. I could expect in the future that there's gonna be a lot more problems with this, and obviously it's a problem that is created by monopolies in America. Verizon and AT&T are those corporate companies that pay great stocks and pretty decent base salaries that create high expectations for other smaller companies. So it's interesting to see people that create part of the salary problem are also creating some of the internet problem. But that is the Tech Bubble Bursting episode 2. Every week I'm going to do some cool tech news I think affects you and your job search or you in the tech industry. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll update every week with the changes I see in the candidate job market. If you like this video, please give it a like, share it with a friend who might be interested, and please subscribe so you can see when I upload the next episode. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.